Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today we're going to be doing a top 10 list for myself, and we are going to be doing my top 10 favorite games by my favorite designer, Bruno Cathala. And Bruno Cathala is a very well-known designer in the board gaming space. He is pretty well known for making these sort of medium to lightweight games that are pretty easy to get into, pretty straightforward. You just take a couple actions, but the games themselves seem to have a lot of depth. So they're easy to get into, but you're not going to be bored with the choices. You're going to have several choices that are important each and every one of these games. And so let's just jump right into the list quickly today. And I'm going to try to do this pretty quickly. And we're going to start with my number 10. My number 10 is a game where you are building out this anthill. This is Micropolis. You are drafting these tiles, these anthill pieces, and you're going to be putting them, adding them onto your own personal anthill, building this out into the circular board that you're going to create, and you're going to score for a plethora of different things. How you build, how the hills, the tunnels go into your anthill, what the different workers are in them. There's a queen in there. There's going to be different sort of fruits and stuff in there that you want a variety of. There's going to be quite a few ways that you're going to score points in this game, and I really like the drafting mechanism of drafting these tiles in this line. And if you don't want the tile on the left, you have to pay to skip it, basically. And that's one of my favorite mechanisms when drafting. You got to pay to skip certain tiles, and everybody else gets your bonuses from the tiles that you've skipped. Really like that part of this. And it's very easy game to get into. Little small game, Micropolis. Going to number 9. Number 9 is the smallest game and the simplest game, I would say, on this list. This is a little card game. This is called Game of Thrones Hand of the King. And you are going to have a grid of cards in your area. And on your turn, you are going to move the Varys card that is on this grid. And you are going to move it along in a straight line and pick up different people of one family. And all the cards in this grid are different family members of the very well-known families in Game of Thrones, like the Targaryens and the Sullys or the Tullys. I can't quite remember. But you're just going to be picking up these members, and you're trying to have the majority of the different families. And if you have the majority, you get this flag. And whoever's got the most flags at the end of the game wins. If you ever collect the last family member that is out on this grid, then you sort of get this one-time special ability. Really cool game. I used to be able to buy this game for like $3 or $4, so I bought this game a ton of times for other friends, gave it away. I just recently looked at this game again because I was like, I should buy this and give some to people, and it went up in price again. So yeah, for $3 or $4 that I was buying it for, it was a steal, but now it seems like it's gone up a little bit in price again. But yes, number 9 was Game of Thrones Hand of the King. Number 8 is a game that I have the least amount of experience for out of all of these games, and it's a game that sat on my shelf for years and years, and I don't know why I wasn't playing it, but this game is Ishtar. In Ishtar, you are basically going to be building these gardens along these fountains in Babylon, I suppose it is, and you are going to be drafting these tiles, putting these tiles down, covering up gems. The gems can be used to buy trees that are going to score you points, or they can be used to buy skills, and there's like 10 different skills that you can unlock, and those skills are going to change how you want to play, how you're going to score points at the end of the game. And there's going to be these gardens with flower beds in them. You're going to put out gardeners on these flower beds. You want to put these gardeners with the flower beds that have like a ton of flowers on them to score a bunch of points. Very cool game. I think I've only played this game 3 times now. So yes, it's by far the one that I've played the least amount, but it is a very, very good game. And every time I've played it, I'm definitely not disappointed. So number 8 is Ishtar. Going to number 7. Number 7 is a little bit of a cheatsy doodle for myself because I'm including an entire series of games for this. This is the King Domino series. You know, it started with King Domino, then there's Queen Domino, then there was King Domino Duel, then there was like Dragomino, then there's King Domino Origins, and I might be missing a game in here too. But it's basically, you are going to be building out this grid of terrain types. You're going to be drafting these terrain types, putting them into your grid area, and at the end of the game, you're going to score points for your large terrain types that are, the same terrain types, times however many of the stars that are in that terrain type. So if you have like 4 grasslands and you have 2 stars in those grasslands, you're going to 4 times 2, so you're going to get 8 points for that. I really like the drafting, and I really like the point system in this. You can have these huge point getters. You only concentrate on this one trading type, trying to get all these stars and multipliers for it. Really cool game. King Domino, just the entire series. There's a King Domino Duel, which is the roll and write version. That's really good as well. Let's go to number 6. Number 6 is Mission Red Planet. In Mission Red Planet, you are trying to place out these astronauts on these rocket ships. Those rocket ships are eventually going to go to Mars, go to certain sections of Mars, and you are trying to have the control the different sections of Mars, and you're going to score points for controlling different sections of that planet. And in this game, it sort of uses that Citadel system where you pick a character card, and then you're going to use that character card. But these characters are numbered 9 through 1 in this. And at the beginning of the round, the first player is going to start a countdown for your rocket ships. He's going to go 9, 8, and if anyone's got the 8 card, they lay it down and they do that ability. The abilities are very simple and straightforward, like placing out astronauts on different rocket ships, and if those rocket ships are ever full, then those rocket ships take off. Some of the characters will like blow up rocket ships. Some of them, you might get an assassin that will kill some of the astronauts. But they're very straightforward abilities, and it uses that mechanism that I really like in games, where you're playing out cards, and those cards don't go back into your hand automatically until you play another card that gets all your cards back. And it's just a really good, solid game. Number 6, Mission Red Planet. Number 5 is by far the newest game on this list, I believe. Yes, by quite a ways, I think. And this is a 2-player only game, and it's a smaller version of this game. This is Splendor Duel. Like I said, it's a 2-player version of Splendor, and Splendor is a very gateway style game. Very popular. It's kind of mainstream now. And Splendor Duel takes the system of gathering gems and using those gems to buy cards and makes it a more strategic and tactile game, which I really love. I love the drafting in this game, how you're drafting the gems in lines, and unlike in the original where you just take gems, this one you're just drafting gems that are in the lines, using those gems to buy different cards. And there's not just one different way you can win this game, there's 3 different ways. And so I really I think Splendor is an okay game. I really like Splendor Duel. I was very surprised of how much I actually liked Splendor Duel. So yes, number 5 was Splendor Duel. Going on to number 4. Number 4 is a sequel of sorts. This is Yamatai. And we'll talk about the original game in a little bit that this was kind of based on. I guess it was originally based on that. But Yamatai is a game where you're going to be drafting these tiles, and these tiles are going to give you boats. And you're going to be then place out these boats in these streams, trying to surround the islands with different colored boats. And if you have the island surrounded with the certain colored boats that you need, you can buy the buildings. There's going to be a market of these buildings, so you can, if you have your island surrounded by the different colors that you need, you can buy those buildings, place the building on the island. There is also these culture tokens around the board, and you can gather those culture tokens. You can use those to buy these heroes. The heroes are going to give you points along with some super unique special ability, and they're really cool. But yes, number 4, Yamatai, and it looks really good when you have later on in the game, when you have all the boats around and you got all these buildings out. Really cool looking game. Number 3 is a game that is really widely known for its artwork, maybe more than the gameplay itself, actually. This is Abyss, and I'm going to just throw in the little card game along with it, Conspiracy Abyss Universe, which is the smaller card game version of it, but that game is very good as well. I didn't want to put 2 Abyss games on here, but Conspiracy Abyss would probably land somewhere on the top 10 as well if I separated these games. But in Abyss, you will basically have 3 different actions. You can push your luck on the top to try and get one of these affiliated tribe members and take the one that you want, and the ones that you didn't take go down to this other area and go onto these family board. And on your turn, you could also take all of the ones that are in that group and put those in your hand, and they're kind of like the rejected affiliated tribes. So they're usually the smaller numbers, but you can get a ton of them in that section. And the final action that you can do is you can use those little cards in order to buy the Sea Lords. The Sea Lords are going to get you lots of points. They're going to give you some sort of special ability. And the really cool thing about this game is once you have 3 keys, you get this board that has some way that you're going to score points on it. But these lords, a lot of them have keys on them. If you get 3 keys, you then take that board and cover up those lords' special abilities. So you're going to get a bunch of points, but you're also going to lose the special abilities of those lords. So it's a really neat little push and pull sort of mechanism there of when do you want to do it, when do you want to get that 3rd key, because you don't want to lose those abilities, but you're also going to get a ton of points for those boards that you're going to get. Yeah, so number 3 is Abyss. Number 2 is a really, really widely known game. Probably his favorite game out of a widely consensus of his best game. This is Seven Wonders Duel, which is the 2-player version of Seven Wonders. He does a really good job of making these bigger games, breaking them down to a 2-player game, and sort of making them more interesting than the original. And I do really like Seven Wonders, though. Seven Wonders Duel I think I like a little bit more, though, because it makes a really interesting drafting mechanism where you are building out like a tableau, a civilization tableau, basically. And how the drafting works is the cards are in this pyramid shape. And when you take a card, you're basically going to uncover some other cards that are going to be available for the other person. So you're like, okay, I need that card, or I want that card, but then it's going to reveal a couple cards for the other person. And some of these cards are face down, so you don't know what you're giving your opponent. And so you don't really want to give the opponent chances to get these really cool, really powerful cards. And there are 3 different ways to win this game. If you can win by military force throughout the game, and that ends the game immediately. There's science victory that you can end the game immediately. If none of those things happen, then you're going to score your points at the end of the game. So I really like how things just work out in this game. Now going to my number 1 game from Bruno Cathala, and it's right here. It is 5 Tribes. In this game, you have a ton of meeples out on this modular board that you have built. And there are a bunch of different color meeples, and the meeples all have different abilities. And on your turn, you are going to take all the meeples from one spot and kind of do the Mancala system, where you're taking one of them, dropping them on the next board, then dropping on the next board, dropping on the next board. And finally, when you drop to the last one, you take all the meeples of that color off that board and do that meeple's special ability, whether it's an assassin or a senator, or I can't remember what all the names of them are for. Ones you can buy genies, genies are kind of the heroes from Yamatai, and this was the original game that Yamatai kind of broke into. And the genies give you some really cool special abilities and points as well. Ways you're going to score, ways you're going to manipulate the game, break the game's rules. 5 Tribes is just a fantastic game, in my opinion. Fantastic at 2 players. I'm not really a big fan of it at 3 and 4. It's okay, I guess. But at 2-player game, it's like one of my all-time favorite 2-player games. So yes, those are my top 10 favorite Bruno Cathala games. Make sure to comment down below what your favorite Bruno Cathala games are. I mean, he's really, really well known. He has a ton of games out there. If you go on his Board Game Geek page, it's just page after page after page of just solid bangers. He's really good at making these games. Fantastic designer, so make sure to comment below your favorite Bruno Cathala game. Either way, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. Hope you all have an amazing day. Take care.